Hi everybody, welcome to Cliff Notes Tuesday. My name is Britton Bright. I am the Director of Client Strategy here at iAcquire, and it is my privilege today to talk to you about Chapter 7 of the Inbound Marketing book by the guys over at Hubspot. So today's chapter is Getting Found in Social Media. So we're going to go over some basics of the chapter, but obviously social media, just like search engines, continuously evolves. And so do the sites that you be participating in. So keep that in mind as we go through this chapter today. Basically, for social media sites, they're places where people are interacting socially, and there are different ways that you can do that. And we're going to go through individual sites that are mostly popular. Because of when the book was published, it's missing a pretty key one in Pinterest, but most of the stuff will really apply to any social media sites that pop up through the course of what the future has to hold for us. So what you need to really think about is creating an effective online profile. So for almost all social media sites, you're going to have an online profile. There are different requirements and different options for the way that you can fill that out and customize it, but there are some basics to keep in mind throughout each individual site in terms of determining your messaging and how you want to communicate your brand. So for creating an effective online profile, we want to make sure that we're thinking about the username that we use. It's suggested in the book that either you use your real name or your company name, depending on the site and on your own personal usage and the overall strategy. We also want to make sure that it's simple, clean, and that there aren't numbers associated with that. What I mean by that is simple. Sometimes we try to be really clever, but that's hard. It's not memorable. So maybe your name is taken, so you took a 3 and used that where the E should be, and it's clever, but it's tough to remember, and it might throw off possible engagements or followers that you might have by being too clever. Clean, same concept. It's just something easy to remember, consistent. And then we don't want you to have numbers on the end because that can either come off as kind of old school, like back in the AOL days, or it can also indicate spam or inauthenticity. So we don't want to have that. Profile pic or your avatar, this is really important. Pick something attractive. You'll have a higher conversion rate. It's good for brand messaging, imaging. Pick an attractive picture of yourself. Don't take a picture of food or something like that, and try to keep it consistent across your profiles. And if it's branded for your company, make sure that you're using the logo, and you can either customize the logo for the particular site that you're on, like we do at iAcquire, or you can use different versions of your logo based on what you have in your portfolio. This is important because we want people to recognize you across different social media sites and come to have an expectation for the voice that you bring. So whether it's for a personal account that you want to use professionally, or whether it's associated with your company, that's a pretty important thing to do. Also make sure that you have the sizing right, because that's something you want to maximize as well. Also bio, most of these will give you an opportunity to describe yourself. Some of them are going to have character limitations like in Twitter, some of them will not. You want to make sure that you have enough pertinent info in the bio to speak to the crowd or the audience that you'd like to be speaking to. So be strategic with that. Make sure you use it. Make sure you don't skip it. We want to make sure that it's authentic, but it's also going to give people interacting with you an idea of what they can expect from socially interacting with you on these sites. Also site links. This is important. It doesn't have SEO benefits, but it's important because if people want to know more about what you do, who you are, it's just important to give them that path and that opportunity. If it's a way to get more traffic to your site, then definitely take advantage of that. So these are things to keep in mind for any social media site and when you're thinking about putting together a strategy. So we'll talk a little bit about some of the major opportunities you have to engage in social media and some things you should keep in mind for those. So we'll start with Facebook. If for some reason you are still unfamiliar with Facebook or not participating in it, you definitely want to do it for your business. It's a great way to engage with your clients. So Facebook is great because it extends your reach, and it can help you determine what pieces of content information you have that could go viral amongst your users. Facebook used to use fans, now it's likes. So their terms of services or usage and their Advertising platform has significantly changed since the book was published, but that happened. So definitely feel comfortable digging around on the site. Facebook wants you to understand how to use it and how to interact with it, so they keep their terms of service and all of the FAQs on how to work with them very much updated on the site. So I would suggest checking that out for the most up-to-date. But there are some still basics that apply. So for Facebook, it's very important to be genuine. You want to make sure that you are interacting in a way that is not canned or commercial or overtly advertorial. You want to leverage the analytics that you have access to in Facebook, because this is a really great way to understand your audience in a very intimate way. So you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of that. Not only with Facebook, but with any of these platforms that offer any kind of analytics. More data is always good for understanding your audience better. And you also want to make it easy to get to your Facebook page. So include links to your Facebook page on your site, in any web content that you have, if this is a way that you really want to engage with your clients. LinkedIn is great. It's much more focused on business professionals. It skews higher from an audience perspective, so it's a good way to get in front of a different audience and a more specific and a more focused audience. There are a lot of ways that you can participate in LinkedIn that will help establish credibility for your business or for you individually. So make sure that you're leveraging that. For both Facebook and LinkedIn, and all of these actually, you can have a business site for free. So you want to make sure that you are taking advantage of that. There are lots of resources on LinkedIn and opportunities to engage and to make sure that you're showing the expertise that you have to offer. There are groups, business pages, questions, surveys, and what LinkedIn really does that the book highlights is creates a path for you to get in front of the right audience or talk to the right people, connect with the right people based on your common business interests and needs. Twitter is another one. Brands have used this in a lot of different ways. There's a great example in the book in the way that QuickBooks has used it. It's a great way to interact with clients and do it quickly. Also, there's a great search functionality, so you can leverage those same keywords that you've identified as important for your industry to find other users within Twitter to help build a following. So we want to leverage industry keywords, seek out other users and other influencers in your industry, and be careful the tools that you leverage to do this and the way that you automate things. There are a lot of options to do that, and it's very easy to come across as inauthentic or spammy on Twitter, and that is not a good situation for the kind of people who like to interact on Twitter. So you want to make sure that you're staying away from any tools or anything that's going to make you appear inauthentic. So let's see. Dig is great for content discovery. This is the one exception to the username situation. On Dig, profiles don't do as well if they're associated with overly direct business persona. So you want to make sure that you maybe come up with something clever, something interesting. You also want to make sure that you're participating, you're making friends, you're writing exceptional titles, you're really optimizing the content that you're leveraging here. You try out and familiarize yourself with popular formats and topics and really understand how it works, and make sure that you're submitting the best content so you're gaining credibility as somebody who's able to really point to interesting and good, useful content for the particular category that you're interested in. And you want to be very, very careful with how you interact on Dig to not get banned. So keep that in mind with that particular site. StumbleUpon is great. It's got a toolbar that you can leverage. Definitely familiarize yourself with that and the categories. Be careful when you first start using StumbleUpon. Don't just use it for self-promotion. That's annoying. No one's going to want to interact with you. So make sure that you're kind of sharing the love a little bit, and you're promoting other pieces of content besides your own, and you're making and leveraging like-minded friends, promoting their content. And an interesting way that you can use StumbleUpon that the book suggests is to leverage inexpensive ads to determine on this site how viral a piece of content may or may not be. So it's a really good testing tool, essentially, if you decide to use it that way. And then YouTube, which is how you found this. So this is a great example of how you can leverage YouTube to help with discovery and being found on social media. They suggest experimenting and being imperfect, kind of like my slanted writing here. It's some examples they gave, but I think it's a really good platform for creativity and individuality. But they gave examples of telling your customer stories, how-to videos, and expert interviews, which is something we also do here at iAcquire. So just leveraging what you have in your arsenal, and how it might be interesting to watch as a video, and put yourself really in the shoes of the user. So from all of this, some major takeaways are: make sure that you're telling So some major takeaways of this chapter to keep in mind for all of social media. Like I said, Pinterest isn't outlined up here, and it's definitely a growing social media platform that brands are paying attention to, and we all are paying attention to too as we're seeking to interact on social media. We've got to be on our toes to be able to apply this to up-and-coming sites like Pinterest. So make sure that you're telling your story. That's what people respond to. It's a much more intimate setting when people choose to engage in this format. Participate. That's a challenge sometimes, so that connects to a later point, but make sure that you're responding and you're interacting in a timely manner so that you're making sure that you're humanizing these profiles and that you're available. That's really important. Be transparent, or treat other people how you want to be treated. So think about that when use that lens when you're thinking about what content you want to share, how frequently you want to share it, the words that you choose to use it. How would you want to see it? How would you like to be treated, and apply accordingly? Listen, this is an opportunity for people who have chosen to connect with you, interact with you, like you, be your friend, and want to give you feedback. That feedback is critical, so make sure that you're listening to it. It's like having a huge test audience out there. So make sure that you're cultivating that and leveraging that, and that will also help people feel more connected to you. Commit to a long-term relationship with social media. Focusing on social media for being found for your business is a long-term strategy. It's not a campaign. So in order to participate, you need to make sure that you're applying budget, you're planning accordingly, that you have a strategy in place, that everything is lining up in this fashion, and that it's something you can support on an ongoing basis. And also, like I said, tracking, really important. A lot of these sites offer free tracking and analytics tools. Use that. Don't forget to use that. Don't forget to, even if you're not using it right now, make sure that you're claiming the name of your company, so that if you want to use that in the future, you have that available to you. And overall, just make sure that you are working with people who can stay on top of these and all of the changes that happen. And this should help you be found in social media. Thank you.